Minutes ago to find your seats. Don't make me find my teacher voice. We are going to get started, folks. If you can start making your way to your seats, we will get the program going. We've got some wonderful folks here to talk to you tonight. Some delicious salad ready for you to eat. And if folks can make their way to their seats, find a spot, your table number's on your name tag. You know, it's hurting Cass.
Hello, Democrats. Good evening, Democrats. Hello, please take your seats. We'll go ahead and get started. We have an exciting program for you tonight, and we want to make sure that we get through to your speakers. I'm Nathan Soltz. I'm the proud chair of the Democratic Party of Oregon, and I'm honored to welcome you to the Wayne Morse Gala. I hope that you've already been enjoying your evening, and I'm very excited about our program tonight. We are all here because we know what's at stake on our ballots this year, starting with our critical local elections that will be decided next month. But as we gather tonight, I am particularly reflecting on the legacy of tonight's dinner, Senator Wayne Morse. The values Senator Morse championed were uniquely Oregon values. He rose to prominence for his positions on any number of foreign affairs and moral matters that may sound just as salient today. As we gather tonight, the president's illegal and unconscionable war in Iran continues. Throughout the room, there are 168 roses on your tables, commemorating the lives of the Iranian school children who were lost at the hands of the president and his bombs. If you would please join me in a moment of silence in the memory of those school children. Thank you. Now, originally as a Republican, Senator Morse broke with his party on several issues, opposing imperialism, supporting the Marshall Plan, and supporting the United States joining NATO. With Dwight Eisenhower naming Richard Nixon as his running mate, the Republican platform calling for the repeal of the New Deal, and Republican leaders refusing to criticize Joseph McCarthy, who Senator Morse called a menace to American democracy. That sounds familiar. He had had enough and he left the party in 1952. But more than all of this, there's an attribute of Senator Morse's Oregon values that I find especially compelling and one that I seek to emulate every single day: his vehement support of labor rights and unions. Because in today's political environment, with the fascists leading our nation, starting illegal wars, undermining Americans' fundamental right to vote, and corrupting every facet of our democracy that he touches, we cannot lose sight of the relentless attacks on the American working class and organized labor. So I will take this opportunity to reiterate something that I've made very clear every opportunity I've had since I was entrusted to lead this party 13 months ago. The Democratic Party of Oregon is the pro-labor party. We are the pro-union, pro-worker party. I will always say every opportunity I get, and I will do it again now, that this party would not exist without organized labor, workers, and unions. The economy of our state and our nation was built on the backs of organized labor. And as the head of our party, and as a proud member of IBEW Local 89 myself, I want to make sure that folks know that the DPO is the pro-labor party, but it's not just enough to say that, and indeed I say it often. I need to make sure that folks see it, that they know it. That means that when Portland Community College employees became the first community college to ever strike, demanding a fair contract and living wages, I proudly joined them on the picket line. Being the pro-labor party means supporting PCC-FCE and PCC-FFAP. It means supporting the ONA workers at Legacy Health. It means supporting the Teamsters at Bigfoot Beverages. Those are Oregon values. But it's not just enough to stand in solidarity with their union siblings when they take to the picket line. We are in a time when service industry workers are under a special attack by a ghastly federal administration. Service industry workers are being scared to come to work, worrying about the safety of their families and of the workplace because of the indiscriminate actions of the madman in the White House. Every year, we thank the workers of this hotel, the folks who parked the car, checked you in, helped you to your room, the folks who have been serving your drinks and bringing you dinner. But it's not enough to just say thank you. I want to be sure that they know that we in this room are Democrats, and that means that we have their backs. We are fighting for a better tomorrow for Oregon's workers. We see you, we hear you, and we are here for you. Those are Oregon values. So Democrats, please join me giving a huge DPO thank you to the Hilton Portland Downtown Union workers of IATSE Local 28 and Unite Here Local 8. Thank you very much. Now please help me welcome to the stage Tribal Councilwoman Kathleen George from the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde.
Welcome everyone. It is my great pleasure tonight to call us together for this important evening in community on behalf of your partner, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, the descendants of the signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends. Tonight, we come together in a night of celebration. Tonight, we are among friends. And it is important to take this time to have this evening in community, to share a meal and a few laughs, because these days we desperately need it. These are days when many of the values that we share, the values that we have worked so hard for, that those who came before us sacrificed so much for. Those values of community, of compassion, of decency are under attack every day. It can feel like the only rational response to the daily disappointment. It can feel like the only rational response is demoralization, exhaustion. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. And when I get a bit discouraged about the challenges of today, I remember that I am truly fortunate to have been left the example and the stories of my ancestors. They left a legacy of endurance and fortitude that is never to be doubted. And we can look to that fortitude and that courage and that vision today. And they left us their stories. Stories are so powerful. So when today's burdens feel like too much, I ask you, seek out one of your personal heroes when you are feeling disheartened. Find that book on the shelf that inspired you, that made you start thinking, maybe I could help make things better. Maybe it made you start coming to events like this to talk to other allies who are willing to work hard to make things better. Let's take solace and inspiration from those heroes that came before us. They can and they have shown us the way. And importantly, enjoy times like tonight, when we can take encouragement and inspiration from the leaders who stay in the fight when it gets awfully, awfully hard. Tonight is for being in community together. It is for remembering those values and those stories that bring us back together in community time after time, because community is the antidote to division and hate. And in that spirit tonight, I have an ask of you. I am asking each and every one of us, before you leave tonight, to thank at least 3 people that you see here for the hard work that they are doing. They may not have heard that in a while. So please know that the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, like our friends in this room, will stay in the fight for our shared values. Both our ancestors and our future generations are counting on us. Thank you. Hayu Masi.
Now, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we are proud to have Manny Moraz. Manny is a part of a group of young Democrats that we at the DPO lovingly call Kim's Kids. Our Vice Chair, Kim Smith, is a beacon in her community, especially at Matters High School, where she mentors dozens of students in local Latino and Native American communities. Manny is one of her exceptional mentees, now a freshman at PSU studying political science on a prestigious Ford Scholarship. Please join me in welcoming Manny Moraz.
There is no flag in here, so you guys will just have to have me as a substitute. I'm sorry. Okay, may I have everyone please rise and remove your head cap if you do have one. Thank you. Okay, never mind, I resign. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You're good.
Good evening, Democrats. My name is Jesse Maldonado. I'm your DPO secretary. Which one's louder? And a proud member of the Lane Community College Board of Directors. It's great to see you all tonight. Tonight, I'm joined by our wonderful treasurer, Chrissy. But we have the pleasure of recognizing some great people tonight, and I have the great pleasure of recognizing some generous sponsors who make this evening and our work as a party possible. So first, let me highlight two very special contributors to this evening. First, a heartfelt thank to Ed and Jody King of King Estate Winery for providing the wine this evening, as well as a special thank you to Morel Inc., Scott and Shauna Ballo, whose generosity gave us beautiful programs that you see on your tables tonight. And a special shout out, as we recognize Morel, we want to take a moment to honor their founder and our dear friend, Bill Dickey, who left us this past November. Bill believed that supporting your community is one of the most important things a person can do, and no one lived that more fully than he did. On nights like tonight, we feel like his presence, and we miss his legacy. Round of applause for Bill. I also have the honor of recognizing the sponsors. Please, we obviously are behind schedule, so please hold your applause until I finish this list. I'm going to read some of our sponsors who make this evening possible. Our premier sponsors, U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, IBEW Local 48, SEIU Local 49. I didn't say anything about yelling, I guess. USCW Local 555. Our platinum sponsors, NGP Van, King Estate Winery, OFNHP, and Morel Inc. Our gold sponsors, U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley, Governor Tina Kotek, Congresswoman Susan Bonamici, Congresswoman Val Hoyle, Congresswoman Andrea Salinas, Secretary of State Tobias Reed, Attorney General Dan Rayfield, Treasurer Elizabeth Steiner, Senate President Rob Wagner, SDLF, Future PAC, the North Coast States Carpenters Union, Oregon State Building Trades and Constructions Trade Council, and Dan Rasmussen for Congress, Dawn Rasmussen for Congress, and our silver sponsors, House Majority Leader Ben Bowman, State Representative Ricky Weiss, Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ron, IATSE Oregon Locals, Bottled Lightning Collective, Bright Blue Inc., Elevated Campaigns, Empirical Media, Stones Phones, and Passadore Properties. I got two more for you. Bronze sponsors, the Pivot Group, and our special sponsors, the Northwest Oregon Labor Council, AFL-CIO. How about a round of applause for all of those folks? And now, lastly, I want to thank some of our most vital sponsors for our ongoing work as a party, our sustaining donors. These are the folks who power the Democratic Party of Oregon year-round. If you're part of one of these donor groups, please wave your hand and recognize as I call out that group. The President's Council. Give a wave if you're a part of the President's Council. Thank you so much for your support early and often in helping us win big. Also, the Capital Circle, who gives so generously to our candidates and always equip us to fight and win if you're part of the Capital Circle. And then also our grassroots Democrats, hundreds of monthly donors fueling outreach efforts across Oregon's communities. Let's give all of those folks a great round of applause.
All right, Jesse said it's all mine now. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Christy Urgiza, and I'm your treasurer of the Democratic Party of Oregon. And it's an honor to help recognize the many elected officials and leadership joining us tonight. If I call your name or the name of your office, please rise so we can thank you properly. I also like the wooing going on, so I'm just going to go through the list of everyone that's here tonight. So, starting with Senator Jeff Merkley, Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici, Congresswoman Janelle Bynum, Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, Governor Keena Kotek, and First Lady Amy Kotek Wilson, Secretary of State Tobias Reed, and Attorney General Dan Rayfield, Treasurer Elizabeth Steiner, and Labor Commissioner Christina Stephenson. And our special guest is Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs from California, former DBO Chair Casey Hansen, Senate President Rob Wagner, Senate Majority Leader Casey Jama, Lou Frederick, James Manning, Mark Meek, Courtney Neron Mislin, Deb Patterson, and Lisa Reynolds. Moving on to the House. Speaker Julie Fahey. House Majority Leader Ben Bowman. Nasia Graber. Tana Sanchez. Woo, woo, woo. I love that. Jules Walters. Daniel Wynn. Rob Dose. Tom Anderson. And Sue Ricky Smith. To all of you serving in Salem, thank you for fighting and for working. Thank you for fighting for working people and progressive values every single day. Now, because it is campaign season, if you are an elected official in local office or if you are a candidate running for office this year, we'd love for you to stand up so we all can thank you. Stand up, please. Look at you all. Look at you all. Feels good to be an Oregon Democrat. Thank you. Thank you so much for your service. Moving along, we have our state party officers. Chair Nathan Soltz. Vice Chairs Kim Schmidt and Eileen Kiley. Secretary Jesse Maldonado. There you go. And me, your treasurer, Chris Urquiza. Next, our DNC members, Diane Grover, Kian Trong, and Steph Newton-Azor. And finally, this couldn't work without our DPO staff. Big round of applause. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna name them off. Candy Emmons, Ron Morgan, Jonathan Rudolph, Claire Hubler Curtis, Amelia Manlove, Eric Smith, Timothy Merle, Thomas Wheatley, and Federico Araujo. Let's also give a big hand to the incredible volunteers helping make tonight happen. They're floating around. Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna kick it back over to Jesse.
All right, tonight I have an honor of introducing a lifelong champion for working families, and someone who spends every single day fighting for Oregonians and strong progressive values. At this moment in our country, when democracy needs fighters, when standing up for our values means standing strong against authoritarianism every single day, our Senator, Jeff Merkley, is on the front lines of fighting for all of us. Senator Merkley represents the very best of our Oregon values, fighting to defend vote by mail, to end partisan gerrymandering, to prevent voter suppression targeting black, brown, and tribal voters, and leading the charge against the corrupt billionaire first agenda being pushed by Donald Trump and his cronies in Washington. Every single day, Senator Merkley shows up to make sure ordinary Oregonians get a fair shake. And this November, it's our turn once again to show up for him and re-elect him to the U.S. Senate. Everyone, please join me in welcoming our Senator, Jeff Merkley.
Can you all hear me? Hey, thank you for the welcome. So good to see you all. Oh my goodness. What a room of surging power, the sort of power that's going to save our republic. You ready to save our republic? And my partner in this journey, Mary Soderberg, is here tonight. Mary. I think we all feel the weight. We feel the darkness. We kind of feel the evil infiltration of Trumpism in America. Are you ready to end Trumpism and reject it? I'll tell you, we have to ring the alarm bells. I never, ever thought we'd be in a place where instead of debating the fundamentals of the foundations for families like healthcare and housing and education and good jobs, or the foundations of fairness and equality, or saving our planet, instead, we have to save our republic. You know, Trump came in with a plan. You remember Project 2025? And you know who Russ Vought is? His architect of that plan, who's coordinating the implementation from his place at OMB. It's undermining every check and balance of our Constitution. The Constitution says, Congress, you have the power to purse. Trump says, hell no, I'll shut down programs, I'll start programs, it doesn't matter what's in the law. And the Constitution says, Congress, you have the power of taxation, and Trump says, hell no, I'll just start moving money around and create secret funds offshore, and by the way, I'll also steal the power of taxation that is called tariffs, and we'll just say, hey, tariff there, so on and so forth. And then the power of war. Constitution, Madison said to Jefferson, it's assigned to Congress because in the entire history of the world we've seen that the executive branch is the branch most prone to war, and so with studied care, our founders placed that with Congress. Did Trump come to Congress to go to war in Iran? No, hell no. And if he had come, you know what we would have said? Hell no, you can't go to war with Iran. So here we are, a president who's developing an incredible secret police. You know, ICE, they're operating like secret police. No ID on the vans, no ID on the uniform, no warrant to break down doors, no ability for those who are detained to contact an attorney or contact family and often moved around and no information about where they are. Are you all ready to reject secret police in the United States of America and throw Trump out? And his big plan is to lock in authoritarian control, and that means something called the SAVE Act. Have you heard of the SAVE Act? The SAVE Act. Well, Republicans are saying, well, this is about stopping non-citizens from voting. But we know that's a complete lie. That's rarer than getting struck by lightning, literally rare. What it's all about is stopping citizens from voting. Citizens Trump doesn't want to vote. He doesn't want women to vote, so the SAVE Act says you'll be knocked off the list if your last name is different than your birth certificate. He doesn't want tribal members and college students to vote, so it says you can't use your ID to vote, your tribal ID or your student ID. He doesn't want the inner city vote, and he doesn't want anybody to vote by mail. Do you have your vote by mail pins on? The reason he doesn't want that is it's much easier to manipulate election day. You can change the location of the precincts. You can put them where there's no parking. You can make long lines. You can turn off machines. You can have staff move things slowly. And you can do what Georgia did and said, 8-hour wait, and we can't even get a glass of water handed to you. So this is the scariest part of his authoritarian plan. It's every single piece that has been used around the world to turn democracies into strongman authoritarian states. And it's our job between now and November to stop it. And there's two ways. There's two ways that countries have stopped authoritarian takeovers. And one is mass protest. We're out on No King's Day. You want to go to the next one? And the second way you stop an authoritarian state is the next election. You've got to have a rejection before the elections can be completely rigged. And I assure you, Trump's thinking of every possible way to rig November. And it's our job to have such a phenomenal, massive wave of Democratic power all across this nation that no amount of rigging and manipulation can stop us from throwing them out of the House of Representatives and out of control of the U.S. Senate. We can't remove Trump for 2 more years after this election unless his cabinet comes to his senses or unless we're able to impeach and convict. But we can absolutely take control of both bodies and have a sweep, a blue wave from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the Gulf of Mexico to the border with Canada and to Alaska and Hawaii thrown in. Let's make that happen. Let's save our republic. Let's end his vision of government. His vision of government is families lose, billionaires win. How about families thrive and our democracy thrives and billionaires pay their fair share? God bless you all. Let's take back our country.
Good evening, fellow Oregon Democrats. I am Diane Grover, one of your DNC members, and I'm so pleased that the DPO is honoring Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield tonight. As a passionate Oregon immigration attorney, I've been so impressed with all the amazing, difficult work that he has done to oppose the Trump administration, with over 60 lawsuits filed to date, some with other state attorneys general, and they are winning the fight. Highlights of his many accomplishments include successfully opposing federal deployment of the National Guard to Portland. The U.S. Supreme Court, no less, just ruled 6-3 in favor of the states in a lawsuit where, as a lead attorney general, he argued the case before the Supreme Court against Trump's tariff policies. His most recent lawsuit was to contest Trump's executive order restricting mail-in voting, which we hold so dear here in Oregon. He has proven that he has been a star on the national stage and has made us proud, representing our Oregon values and being focused on championing the issues our country care about most. Now it is my great honor and privilege to welcome him to the stage. Please join me in welcoming our Attorney General, Dan Rayfield, as this year's recipient of the Wayne Morse Award for Integrity and Passion.
Well, how's everybody doing tonight? Well, what an incredible honor. And I just want to say this, throughout my entire life, throughout my entire career, whether it's been in private practice or whether it's been at the Oregon Department of Justice or in the Oregon legislature, I have always been incredibly lucky to be surrounded by some of the most talented and amazing people. Our first day when we got into the Department of Justice, we said that Oregon, we want to lead because we believe that this state should lead. We are not a state that are going to join with other states in a lot of the lawsuits. We're going to lead on these issues. When President Donald Trump sat there and he said, we want military on the streets of our cities here in Portland, I challenged our attorneys. I want to be in court in less than 24 hours. And our staff and our attorneys at the Oregon Department of Justice worked all hours, and we were in that courtroom, something that no other state did in less than 12 hours, preventing the National Guard from deploying on the streets of our city. President Donald Trump wanted to use an emergency order that no president had ever used in the history of this country to implement tariffs? We said absolutely not. In fact, we're going to lead this lawsuit on behalf of all of the states. And we did. We went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won. And right now, there's something going on in America that isn't getting a lot of attention. President Donald Trump is not only challenging us with executive orders, he is pulling back from the enforcement of our laws. Right now, in America, they are abdicating their responsibility to enforce our antitrust laws across this country. And what that means for us is higher costs. And you think about the stations that are going on here in Portland, we are going to lose our editorial voice. And I challenged our attorneys that we are not set up to do this. But we have amazing public servants, and I challenged them, we're going to be a part of the TEGA Nexstar lawsuit. We are going to lead when it comes to Ticketmaster, and we are going to work and challenge the Paramount merger. What I'm trying to say effectively is that I am merely a hood ornament on an incredible machine of committed public servants at the Oregon Department of Justice. They work countless hours to be able to represent all of us, and it is humbling to be a part of their team to be able to do this work. And I want to recognize two really important people in our office that are here today. Dustin Bueller, who is our special counsel with federal work. Stand up, Dustin. And Faye Stetzwater. Stand up, Faye. Now here's the reality. I called the DPO, I talked to Candy, and I said, hey, Candy, I've got 1,700 amazing public servants at the Department of Justice, and I want 1,700 tickets to be here tonight. Candy's kind of a monster, and she told me no. And she said, you're lucky to be sitting at table 3. You know, you should be at table 500. And I said, fine. Well, I'll just take my 2 tickets, and we'll be fine. So the final person that I would say, there's an incredible person in my life that makes this work, and that is my wife, Amanda Rayfield. She does everything that I don't do and is amazing. With that, just to say it's an honor to be here tonight. It's an honor to receive this award. It's an honor to be a part of the Oregon Department of Justice team. It's an absolute honor to have your support to be Oregon's Attorney General. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting the Konosky Award, which is named after Professor Jim Konosky, and is given to an individual or a group that has demonstrated exceptional commitment to promoting a civic engagement. But first, I just want to give a shout out to Professor Konosky's son, Zach, who is in the room with us tonight. Zach, can you stand up and be recognized? You know, as we all know, the past 15 months has been a nightmare for the American people, including hard-working Oregonians who have been struggling and begging for the relief from the high cost of living. And yet, because of the rampant corruption, endless chaos, and failed economic policy from Trump administration, this year, Oregon household will be forced to pay almost $3,000 more in goods. So to win in November and to win back the trust of the working class family, we Democrats need a strong affordability agenda. But here's the thing. We cannot fight for economic justice or for any issue that we all care about without a strong democracy where every eligible voter can vote and every vote counts. And the Trump and the Republicans know that. They know that their harmful and unpopular policy will cost them the midterm election. That is why they are making it harder for people to vote. That is why they're trying to interfere with our local election, and that is why they're trying to attack Oregon's safe and secure vote by mail system. Are we going to let them do that? No. Good, because I know of just a guy who will say hell no. Everyone, please welcome to the stage this year's Konosky Award recipient, our democracy defender-in-chief, Oregon Secretary of State, Tobias Reed.
Thanks very much, and I want to start by thanking everyone here in the Democratic Party of Oregon for the Klonowski Award. I really can't think of any other recognition the DPO gives that means more to me. And it's especially meaningful to be able to talk with Zach a little bit about that tonight. This is an award that really is meaningful to me. But for those of you who know me as Secretary of State, former state treasurer, and state representative, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was brought up in Boise, Idaho, by two parents who were formed by the Quaker tradition and who were deeply committed to civic engagement, to volunteerism, and to service. My dad's father was active in the American Friends Service Committee, and in the 1950s, he was the United Nations Deputy High Commissioner for Refugees. In fact, he was in that role in 1954 when the UNHCR won the Nobel Peace Prize for their work helping to resettle millions of post-war refugees across Europe and the Middle East. Well, my parents inherited that tradition, and they carried it forward. They met at Earlham College, a place that's familiar to at least one elected official in this room. And it was a base for my dad, who traveled to South Carolina throughout the 1960s, registering Black Americans to vote. He was a psychologist, and for years he was the director of the Health Promotion Institute at St. Alphonsus in Boise. My mom was involved in all kinds of volunteer services and activities in Oregon. She helped start the Boise Peace Quilt Project, which is how we all got to meet Pete Seeger and Rosa Parks and Mr. Rogers and various other people who came to Boise. They even created the National Peace Quilt, which eventually covered the vast majority of U.S. senators as they slept. And she worked with Patch Adams, the real Patch Adams, and got involved in his Gesundheit Institute to revolutionize healthcare. She found fellow travelers there and everywhere who believed, as she did, that we can take on tough issues and be silly at the same time, often in clown costumes. To those of you who know me well, this might explain a lot. Clown costumes and where my stoicism comes from my dad. It is safe to say, for sure, that I came from a family that stressed the importance of civic involvement and giving back to our community. I feel really lucky to have had parents who told me to roll up my sleeves and work to make my community better. That belief that we share, that we are all better off when there are fewer people standing on the sidelines, is what makes my job as your Secretary of State so gratifying. And I want to tell you, I know that it is both an honor and a responsibility that I have to protect this election system that is core to one key pillar of our democracy in Oregon, the absolute right of every eligible Oregonian to securely and conveniently cast their vote by mail. And I am also aware that I have inherited that responsibility from a lot of people who came before me, people in this room who built this system. People like Secretary of State Phil Kiesling, who laid the groundwork. People like Secretary of State Bill Bradbury, who oversaw its establishment as our sole system of voting in Oregon. People in this room who have improved upon it and allowed us to use automatic voter registration to further enhance participation. And people in this room who have gone even further with free postage and the reality that ballots that are postmarked on time should count if they arrive within 7 days. Because a ballot shouldn't be thrown out just because the postal service is slow. You all built this. And you built it not because you thought about how it would help the Democratic Party and our candidates. You built it because you believe, as I do, that Oregon is better. We are stronger when more people participate in democracy, when they feel an outcome that matters to them. They feel a stake in the system. So when you see me fighting efforts by the Trump administration to make it harder for eligible people to vote, to put barriers between citizens and their right to cast ballots, please be confident that I know I'm fighting for something that generations of Oregonians built. The people have tasked me with protecting this. So please know that I'm doing this with a dedicated team of county clerks across the state and dedicated public servants. So I'm here to humbly thank you for this Klonowski Award, and thank you for trusting me to protect and defend this core element of our democracy, this system that allows us to hold government and politicians accountable, a pillar of civic engagement in Oregon. We are all on this team together. Thanks very much.
Good evening, Democrats. I'm Steph Newton. I'm one of your 3 elected DNC members. I'm also your Jewish caucus chair, and I'm also city council president down in Albany, Oregon. Yes, that Albany. That Albany is Oregon's newest Democratic stronghold, where we've registered more Democrats than Republicans and have a 100% Democratic city council. I spend a lot of time in rooms like this talking about what we need in leadership. But tonight, we get to hear from someone who is already delivering on it. Janelle Bynum is a small business owner and a proud sports mom. The kind of person who knows her way around a football schedule and is not afraid to tell the ref when they have got the call wrong. Honestly, pretty great preparation for Congress, if you ask me. If I could go to my next page. Taking off the gloves. In her first term, she has already delivered real results, bringing over $160 million back to her district and connecting with thousands of Oregonians through town halls across the state. And she's just getting started. At a time when the chaos coming out of Washington can feel overwhelming, Janelle does not just talk about protecting our democracy. She shows up, she organizes, and she gets it done. So, please join me in welcoming the gentle lady from Oregon, my representative, Congresswoman Janelle Bynum. There you are. Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good evening, Democrats. We got 3 microphones up here. I don't know what that means. All right, y'all know how this starts. I say give them hell, Democrats. You say give them hell, Janelle. Give them hell, Democrats. 3 times, give them hell, Democrats. One more time, give them hell, Democrats. All right, I want to thank you all for showing up here tonight because it's no secret that we are living through some trying times. We are actually having to fight to work on behalf of the American people, while also fighting against a president who is actively undermining our democracy and our values. But the truth of the matter is, showing up is the most important part of the battle, and being here tonight means that we're in this fight together. Now, I'm going to tell you, this fight is worth having for me. I get a little personal sometimes. I just sent out my Christmas card, and I did, and I missed last year, like 2024. So I was struggling a little bit, but the reason that I pushed through and got them out was because I fight for my kids, and I fight for your kids, and I fight for the next generation, and it is essential that we make sure that our children's children, say it with me, children's have a fair shot. That is what this is about. So I hit the road in 2025 to start my Give 'em Hell tour, where we hit every corner of my district, and we reached over 94,000 Oregonians in 2025 alone, and I hosted over 26 town halls, even one in Cliff Bence's district.
We've also been taking it to the map because I get those stories when I go to the district. I get those stories and I take them back. I'm not going to compete with y'all. I get the stories in my district and I take them back to DC. And right when I get off the plane on Monday evenings, I go and do a speech of protest. And how do they start? Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. And I demand on behalf of Oregonians the things that we need, whether it's Social Security benefits, protections for our federal workers, things that our children need like special education, all of these things that Oregonians care about, the right to vote by mail. Say it with me, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, one more time. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. And I promise you, my mother is not the only one that has seen that speech, because the first time I gave it, she called me and she said, I saw you on TV. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing watching C-SPAN? And she said, well, I don't trust anybody else. C-SPAN just gives it to me straight. So I wanna just tell you that we've launched our K through 30 plan. We're trying to make sure the next generation has jobs, housing, and workforce training. We're trying to make sure that we win this race again. It was a $37.5 million race the last time. And people ask me about, what do you think about this race this time? And I tell them, Republicans are willing to put good money on bad people. Now, I gave up being petty for Lent. Lent is over. Lent is over. But aren't you glad you didn't re-elect Lori Chavez DeRemer? Thank you and good night.
Oh, we're very glad. We're going to make sure we re-elect Congresswoman Janelle Bynum. All right, y'all. Good evening again, Democrats. It is now my honor to welcome to the stage a champion for Oregon and a leader our party is so lucky to have in DC, my Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici. Woo! And since 2012, Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici has represented Oregon's 1st District with conviction and grit, fighting for public schools, for working families, for our coast and climate, and for the rights and dignity of everyone across this country. She helped write and pass the Every Student Succeeds Act, replacing the No Child Left Behind Act, and on behalf of my generation, thank you. Didn't appreciate all those standardized testing growing up. I don't think anyone did. She founded the Congressional STEAM Caucus. She co-chaired the House Oceans Caucus. I didn't even know we had one of those. Go look up. And she serves on the Education and Workforce Committee and the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, and stands shoulder to shoulder with us in the Progressive Caucus. And in moments that demand courage, she delivers it every single day. I'm so proud that you represent me, Suzanne Bonamici. So please join me in giving a warm Democratic welcome to our Congresswoman, Suzanne Bonamici.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Oh, it's really bright up here. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you so much, Democrats. How about that, Janelle Bynum, right? I just want to say, when I joined Congress in 2012, there were 0 women in the Oregon delegation. Now we have 5. 5 amazing Democratic women, including Maxine Dexter, Janelle Bynum, Andrea Salinas, and Val Hoyle. It's amazing. But it is incredibly tough in Washington, D.C. right now. I'm just reminiscing about the first presidential election after I came to Congress. It was Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. Right? Mitt Romney put his dog crate on top of the car. He didn't shoot his dog. He put the dog crate on top of the car. And Barack Obama wore a tan suit, and that's what we were dealing with. Binders of women, right? But that was it. That was the controversy. So now we have an unhinged president. We have wars. We have ICE terrorizing communities and democracy under attack every day. Yes, these are challenging times, but at this time, we have to focus in these times on our values as Democrats. And what I've been saying for years is that Democrats believe in a better future. You deserve a better future. And I reflect on my immigrant grandparents who came to this country on a long boat ride from Italy. They were poor. My grandpa was a coal miner until he lost his leg in the coal mine and then went to work at Ford Motor Company. But they knew that in the United States of America, the next generation would have a better future. And they did. My father's generation and my brothers and me and our kids. But now people are wondering, will they be ever able to have that future? Will they ever be able to buy a home or go to college? So we need to turn things around because you deserve that better future and the next generation deserves that. But it is hard sometimes. It's hard when our values are threatened. But think about all the reasons to be hopeful. Think about it. Democrats are winning up and down the ballot. Our former colleagues, Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill, and in races in Florida and Wisconsin. And just last week, look what happened. J.D. Vance went to campaign for Oregon. Not only did he lose, he conceded the election because it wasn't even close. You know what? As it turns out, people don't like authoritarianism, and we are seeing that here. We're seeing cracks. Now, I would never believe that I would be standing here at the Democratic Party of Oregon and saying I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. But look what's happening, because the policies that this president is implementing are very unpopular, and he knows it. So we are ready. We are ready to fight hard. I'm not looking for a blue wave. I'm looking for a blue tsunami, right? I represent the coast. I don't talk lightly of tsunamis, but we are ready across the country with Democrats in the majority. Our policies will reflect our values. We will protect, not cut Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and SNAP. We will see that ICE is held accountable. We will have humane immigration reform. We will hold ICE accountable. We will claw back the $140 billion they gave to ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. We will use that for education, for health care, for economic development. We will use it for things that actually help the American people. We'll protect voting rights and make housing and child care affordable. Shout out to my colleague Sarah Jacobs for helping to lead the effort for affordable child care. It's so important. We will protect voting rights. We will invest in science. We will expedite the transition to clean energy. And this is really important to our future. We will save public education. It is the best investment we can make in our children and their future. We will rebuild that federal investment in public education is so important. Lou Frederick, all of it, we know that federal investments in education is about civil rights. It is about expanding opportunity for children across the country. IDEA, Title I, access to higher education. These are investments that make a difference. So as a senior member of the Education Committee and as the ranking member, soon to be chair of the Subcommittee on Early Childhood, Elementary and Secondary Education, we will rebuild the Department of Education. We will save public education from privatization. We will fully fund IDEA, and we will restore the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education, reinvest in our schools, reinvest in our communities, and we can win. We're going to win. We're going to win because we have the values, we have all of you and the hard work, and we have momentum on our side. So we're going to work hard. I know you're with me. Are you with me? Okay, I'm going to do election outdoes. Are you with me? Are you with me? Let's get out there. Let's get out there and work hard on all of the races between now and November, and let's celebrate that blue tsunami come November of 2026. Thank you, Democrats.
Good evening. My name is Kim Smith. I get to serve as the DPO Vice Chair. I also have the joy of serving as the Chair of the Rural Caucus. Thanks. I would say hi to you exactly, but I can't see. There she is. All right, so Governor Kotek has spent her career fighting for others and was elected to the Oregon House of Representatives in 2006. In 2013, she made history as the nation's first lesbian to serve as Speaker of a state house. Ultimately becoming the longest-serving Speaker in Oregon history. During her time as Speaker, she raised the minimum wage, passed paid family leave, and fought to combat climate change. In 2023, she was sworn in as Oregon's 39th governor. On her first day in office, she declared a homelessness state of emergency and has made historic investments to spur housing production, and Oregon is now on track to keep 24,000 households from losing their homes. First Lady Amy Kotek Wilson is also here tonight. As longtime advocates, Governor Kotek and Amy came together with a shared passion for addressing income inequality and building community and opportunity for everyone. Amy spent the first part of her career working on issues like hunger, LGBTQ plus rights, access to mental health care, and standing up for workers' rights and fighting for a fair contract. After the 2024 election, Governor Kotek announced Oregon would be expanding protections for medical providers and patient privacy and securing a long-term supply of abortion medication to ensure that Oregon would continue to have the strongest reproductive health care protections in our nation. On a personal note, from someone who lives in dry, rural Oregon, after a lightning strike on a late Sunday night, I saw high winds push a fire for miles in front of me, and within a couple of hours, Governor Kotek had set the stage for federal assistance. Without Governor Kotek stepping up for my community late on a Sunday evening, I would have lost my home. So thank you, Governor Kotek, and please join me on the stage. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Kim and Nathan and Candy and the entire team at the Democratic Party of Oregon for organizing this amazing evening. Thank you to the DPO for your great work. And I want to congratulate my longtime friends Dan and Tobias for their awards. Congratulations, well earned. Thank you for being such strong partners to make sure we are the blue wall defending our state. So thank you. To our congressional delegation, I pray for you every day, and I thank you for fighting for us in Washington, D.C. So thank you. And frankly, everyone in this room, we have party volunteers here, we have donors here, we have elected leaders, we have appointed leaders. Thank you for being here. You show up, you do the work, and you believe in something bigger than the next election. Thank you very much. All of us are here because of the values that brought us into the Democratic Party. Fairness, freedom, opportunity. And all of those things are under assault in a way none of us have ever seen before. And even though the history of our United States reflects our human imperfections, the America that we believe in is worth defending. The Oregon that we have built together is worth defending. And I know tonight that you are ready to defend our state, are you not? As your speaker and now as your governor, my commitment has always been to keep working hard to build something better for people and for the future of the state that I love. And I am not about to let anyone take that away from us. All of us here have made sure that Oregon has the strongest access to reproductive health care in the country, and we will fight to keep that. We have had secure vote by mail for decades, and we will fight to keep our access to the ballot because that is the Oregon way. We have put Oregon on the path to 100% clean electricity, and we are committed to reducing climate change, and we will fight to keep doing that work here in Oregon. And as Democrats, we have stood up for working families. We have created Paid Leave Oregon. We have built more affordable housing. We have reined in utility rates. We have strengthened protections against medical debt and predatory loans. We know how to fight for opportunity. We know how to stand up for families because we are Democrats. And all of us have made sure that Oregon, our beautiful state, is a welcoming place. And that's not just something we say, that is a commitment that each and every one of us has. We have to stand united to protect Oregon from unlawful federal overreach. We must continue to stand together with our immigrant and refugee neighbors. They are our coworkers, our family members, our small business owners. They are Oregon. And I can tell you, as long as I am governor, I will not yield to the inhumanity and immorality of the Trump administration against our citizens and our residents. So I'm going to need your help to protect our state for 4 more years. 4 more years, folks. You ready to help me out? Are we going to win in November? Here's what we can look forward to. We're going to create more good-paying jobs, and we're going to make sure folks have the training and career pathways to fill those jobs. We're going to build more homes across our state, and we are going to chart a path for more access to affordable childcare and universal preschool in every corner of our state. And no matter what chaos comes out of Washington, I am not going to back down from defending the rights of every person that makes Oregon their home, no matter where they come from, who they love, or how they identify. We know that our rights and our economic opportunities and our very future are on the line, on the ballot this year. And it's not just about my race, it's every race. If you've been watching the Republican primary for my race, you can see it. Republicans want to run the same playbook here in Oregon. They're recruiting, they're organizing, and they're hoping that all of us lose focus. And we cannot let that happen. So here's my ask. Are you going to be all in for Oregon this year? Are you going to be all in? Are you going to be all in? This year, and until that guy is out of office, we are going to have an Oregon where every community is valued, where every worker is respected, and where every family has a home, and an Oregon that looks the rest of the country in the eye and says, this is what it looks like to fight back and win. So thank you very much. Let's all win in November, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Candy. It is through hard work and dedication like that that not only is Oregon 7 for 8 in sending Democrats to Congress, and soon to be 8 for 8 thanks to the amazing women running for seat each who in this room. But in the House, we cannot celebrate enough that we have an all-woman Democratic delegation. Following in the footsteps of our longtime champion, Earl Blumenauer, is no easy task, but right from the first days of her tenure, it became clear that Maxine Dexter was up for the work. Seldom does a day go by that I don't see her in the news, taking the fight for our country straight to Trump, leading with compassion. Congresswoman Dexter is one of our nation's most prominent figures when it comes to reining in Trump's lawless ICE. And as the proud son of an immigrant and husband of an immigrant, whenever things feel bleak for families like mine, seeing the unrelenting work of Congresswoman Dexter to restore basic human decency to our federal government gives me the energy and hope to keep doing this work, to send fighters like her to hold our party's banner in the halls of Congress. I am honored to call Maxine Dexter a friend, and Oregonians are fortunate every day to have her representing us in D.C. Democrats, please join me in welcoming our Congresswoman, Maxine Dexter.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. Good evening, Democrats. And thank you, Nathan, for your kind words and your remarkable service to this Democratic Party. My name is Maxine Dexter, and it is truly a privilege to serve the people of Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Thank you. And it is hard to see up here. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Democratic Party of Oregon for bringing us all together and for the relentless work that you do every day. Can we give another round of applause for everyone here? Thank you. And thank you, because you all are the wind beneath all of our wings as we sprint towards a majority in the 2026 election, not only in the House, but in the Senate. Okay. So we gather here not just to celebrate our achievements as Democrats, but to strategize and to commit ourselves to the critical work ahead. Yes, we live in turbulent times, and it often feels like the darkness is closing in. Yet, the determined and strength that I have seen in our immigrant communities, in our students, in the volunteers hitting the streets every day, it gives me great confidence that we will continue moving forward into the challenges with a stronger and more united party, again, when we win the House and the Senate in 2026. A resilient democracy flourishes when we stand united in shared values. We are confronted with an increasingly authoritarian government. It is indeed a fascist government. And you know how I know? Heather Cox Richardson told me so. But we must remember that our greatest power comes from our unity and our commitment to inclusivity and compassion. It is essential that Democrats, that we build a strong base, one that we welcome those who may not agree with us on everything, but share our vision for a country rooted in opportunity and equity. America has always been a work in progress. Our history reflects a constant struggle between our highest ideals and our greatest demons. And we, every time, when we fought for our ideals over those demons, we have emerged more robust and more united. And frankly, we must become more united. As a party and as a nation, we will be strongest if we remain steadfast in our mission to build relationships rooted in trust. We must not look down on those whose perspectives differ from ours. Authoritarians gain a foothold when the citizens turn on one another. We must come together in solidarity to advance the mission of this nation. And now more than ever, we need to be audacious in our goals. We cannot just fight for what we had, we have to fight for what we deserve. Democrats have historically enacted profound changes that have benefited countless Americans. We don't, frankly, remember who gave the wealthy a tax cut, but we do remember who gave us Medicare and Social Security. And if these measures are the embodiment of democratic ideals, then folks, we've got a long ways to go coming out of this darkness. So, as we move to the midterms, you will hear promises. And it is time that Democrats are clear in what we are fighting for. And then we got to make sure we deliver. Health care for all. Economic opportunity for everyone, for the Candy Emmons in the world who are waiting. We must end government corruption. And these will require disciplined focus and strategic planning. And y'all, that's not something Democrats are always great at. We must clearly commit our intentions, tell the people what we're going to do, and then take lap after lap in celebration when we deliver. We have to be proud, we have to be loud, we have to repeatedly tell people what we did, because how many people know that the IRA was one of the greatest investments in our country? Not enough people. And that is why we are not winning right now. We have to not just build a better country, we have to tell people that we've done it and then show them. It has to touch them at home. So, over the past 16 months, looking at this timer here, and I got to talk about this woman standing over here. So, over the past 16 months, I have had the honor of getting to know a remarkable leader who exemplifies just what we're talking about. She exemplifies building trusting relationships and navigating tough conversations grounded in our shared values. That is Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. It is my absolute pleasure to get to honor her and introduce her as our keynote speaker tonight. Sarah proudly represents California's 51st Congressional District, which includes sunny San Diego. First elected in 2020, she is currently in her third term, and at just 37 years old, she is one of the youngest members of the Democratic House leadership, consistently giving her constituents a voice. And y'all, she also got arrested on the Supreme Court steps fighting Dobbs. Congresswoman Jacobs serves on the Foreign Affairs Committee and on as the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Africa, as well as on the House Armed Services Committee. She is parliamentarian of the Democratic House Steering and Policy Committee and vice chair of the Congressional Equality Caucus, where she dedicates herself to inclusivity and progress. Sarah's experience spans policy roles at the U.S. State Department during the Obama administration, UNICEF, the United Nations, and she served Secretary Hillary Clinton during her presidential campaign in a foreign policy advisor role. And that's pretty damn intimidating, if you ask me. What I admire most about Sarah is her ability to build meaningful relationships and her willingness to have tough conversations. I saw her doing it late Thursday night when she was going between House leadership on the Dem side and then going over and talking to all the Freedom Caucus Republicans, and she helped stop the FISA reauthorization that would have allowed our government to spy on you all. So please join me in giving an Oregon Democratic Party welcome to Sarah Jacobs, California's 51st District's Congresswoman.
Well, hello, Oregon Democrats. How you doing? I am so happy to be here with you all tonight. This is so much better than what we normally have to do. So I want to start by asking you all a question first. How many of you have felt overwhelmed lately? Angry? Frustrated? More synonyms? Yeah. I see a lot of heads nodding. I get it. I feel it too. Every day we are exhausted because we wake up, we check our phones, and before we've even brushed our teeth or had any coffee, and if you're anything like me, you need that coffee, there's already something to be furious about. Another executive order, another person detained, another war. But this is an important reminder for all of us. This is their strategy. They want us to feel overwhelmed. They want us to feel like there's nothing we can do about this. They want us to feel like we don't have a say. And it isn't true. As my therapist likes to remind me pretty frequently these days, it feels really hard right now because it is really hard right now. But now I want you to take that hand that some of you raised when I was naming all these synonyms, and I want you to pat yourself on the back. I'm serious. Pat yourself on the back. Because even with how hard everything is, even with how overwhelmed we all feel, even with everything going on, you still showed up. You're here, coming together to do the work that needs to be done, building community, staying in community, showing up. That is actually the most important thing you can be doing right now, and I'm not just saying that to make you feel good. As you heard, I worked in post-conflict stabilization and post-coup transitions before Congress. I didn't really think my experience would be quite so relevant, but here we are. And I have literally seen and worked in countries that are more torn apart than our country is now. Countries where they were literally fighting each other even worse than we are fighting each other, where they had democratic backsliding even worse than we are seeing. And in those countries, when they were able to put together a broad-based pro-democracy movement like we are seeing happen in the United States right now, they had a better than even chance of getting a better democracy on the other side. Not going back, getting a better democracy. That is our goal, that is our North Star, that is what we are building towards. And in all of these countries, change didn't come from the top. It came from the bottom up. It came from people like you coming together and deciding they deserved better for themselves and for their country. Real permanent change, the kind of change we need, it happens person by person, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, one conversation at a time. And it takes winning elections. And if the Hungarian people could get rid of Viktor Orban after 16 years, we can do it here in the United States. A Democratic Congress is the firewall. It's the check on Donald Trump. It's how we stop the bleeding and start actually fighting back with power. Because I know there's more you all want us to be doing. There is more I want us to be doing. And with a Democratic majority, we can. With a Democratic majority, we will control the legislative agenda, the committee structure, the hearing schedule, the messaging calendar, and the oversight docket. We will decide what bills come to the floor. We'll have subpoena power, and we will use it. We will be able to do real investigations. So everything that you all have been wanting us to do, have been calling us to do, we will be able to do once we have the majority. And we have to do that. Because, I don't know if you've noticed, but shit's really bad right now. The cost of everything is going up, and it's getting harder and harder to make ends meet. Donald Trump's tariffs are squeezing families everywhere. At the grocery store, at the gas pump. Gas in San Diego right now is over $6 a gallon. I saw earlier today here it's $5 a gallon. People are getting squeezed just trying to pay rent, trying to just make it to the end of the month. We are watching our taxpayer dollars that should be used for healthcare or housing or childcare get wasted on another forever war in the Middle East. And ICE and Border Patrol are infiltrating our communities and operating like there are no rules, disappearing people from our communities and murdering Americans in the middle of the street. And I know I don't need to tell you all about this because you, Oregon Democrats, you showed us how to respond. You showed up day after day outside ICE with inflatable frogs and naked bike rides, bucket drums, megaphones, because you all understand that when our neighbors are being disappeared, silence is not an option. And now, thanks to you all, we all know that inflatable frogs are a powerful symbol of resistance. But we also can't just be so focused on defeating Donald Trump that we forget the bigger picture. We can't go back to the way things were before Trump and call it good. Because the status quo actually hasn't been working for a very long time, and honestly, it is what led us to Donald Trump in the first place. Because even before Donald Trump, the status quo meant people were working 2, 3, or 4 jobs not to get ahead, just to stay afloat. Even before Donald Trump, the status quo meant only 1 in 4 renters who qualify for housing assistance actually received it. Even before Donald Trump, the status quo meant that only 10 to 14% of children who qualify for child care assistance could actually get it. Even before Donald Trump, the status quo meant that 25 million Americans were uninsured. And even before Donald Trump, the status quo meant that many people, especially young people, had lost trust and faith in government and institutions and our leaders. And honestly, I get it, I'm a millennial. We lived with forever wars, with the Great Recession, with COVID, with gun violence, our entire adult lives. And we don't feel like we will ever be able to buy a home or pay off our student debts or get ahead and live a good life. For millennials and future generations, the American dream is more like a mirage. So we can't just try and go back to the way things were. And as much as I would love to stand up here and blame everything on Donald Trump, we can't. Well, I mean, I guess we could, but it wouldn't actually solve the problems. Because we have to be a little bit honest with ourselves, right? The people who voted for Donald Trump were desperate for change. And they were willing to take a gamble that any kind of change would be better than the status quo because that was all we were offering them. And now, when it's obvious that that gamble didn't pay off and people are starting to open their eyes to the dumpster fire that is the Donald Trump presidency, as satisfying as it could be, we cannot say, "I told you so," right? I'm looking at all of you. Because now is the time to welcome them back into the fold and work together to actually deliver meaningful change. Because to get that better democracy that we want on the other side, we need the biggest, broadest coalition we can build. And the best way for Democrats to do that is to be a party of transformational change. Not the party of the status quo, not the institutionalists who will defend systems that aren't working and maybe in some cases never really worked. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that we abandon our values. I will actually literally fight anyone who tries to blame an election loss on trans kids. But we should abandon systems that aren't working and take this time where Donald Trump has destroyed everything to decide and reimagine and rebuild systems and make them better. Now is the time to be big and bold. The size and scale of the crises we're facing are too big, and the American people can't afford to wait for help that's too little too late. The people we're fighting for don't have the luxury of incrementalism or baby steps that maybe might help the situation in a decade. The parent working 3 jobs who still can't afford childcare isn't asking for a modest tweak to the tax code. The family 1 medical bill away from losing their home isn't asking us to nibble around the edges. And the kid drowning in student debt who did everything right, went to school, worked hard, they're not asking us to be careful. The teacher paying a higher effective tax rate than the top 1% doesn't want a modest adjustment to the capital gains rate. They want us to actually tax the rich. And to be clear, my grandfather started a Fortune 500 company, so when I say actually tax the rich, I mean actually tax me and my family, and I mean it. And for my constituents in San Diego, the biggest military community in our country who are deploying to Iran right now, they don't need nice speeches. They need us to end this reckless war and finally rebalance our national priorities away from the war machine and toward development and diplomacy. The American people are not asking us to dream small. Frankly, they are exhausted by small, and so am I. Because when we've done small, we've seen how quickly it can get reversed. We need to rebuild faith and trust in government by showing people that we understand the scale of the problems and that we have real solutions for how to fix them. And we don't have to look that far to know what a bold vision looks like. We know what it looks like. It looks like universal childcare. It looks like housing investments at the scale of the problem. It looks like healthcare that doesn't depend on whether your boss offers a good plan or whether you can afford a monthly premium. We are not fighting to go back. We are fighting to go forward to something we've actually never fully had before. And to rebuild faith and trust in government, we also need to acknowledge where we got things wrong. In 2024, when so many people were struggling, Democrats were too slow to recognize that and kept trying to tell people that the economy was good when it just didn't feel good. And we have to acknowledge that some of the systems that aren't working are systems that we helped put in place. The analogy I like to use, okay, you know when you're all at the store and the salesperson tells you that everything looks good on you, and so then when they say that like that pair of jeans looks good on you, you don't really believe them? You all know, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But if the salesperson tells you that the jeans actually aren't that flattering, but the ones you had on before looked good, you trust them, right? Well, in 2024, Democrats were like the salesperson that told us that everything looked good on us. We have to be willing to tell people when the jeans aren't flattering, even when they're the jeans that we are trying to sell. And another way to build trust is by making big promises and then actually delivering on them. And honestly, you all in Oregon are showing us how to do that. Oregon Democrats have sped up affordable housing development for seniors and families, increased rent protection, eliminated medical debt from credit reports, and cracked down on predatory lending and hidden fees. When Trump's Medicaid cuts threatened Planned Parenthood clinics across the state, Oregon Democrats backfilled those dollars so patients could keep accessing cancer screenings and contraception and reproductive care. When Trump's tariffs started hitting Oregon's families at the grocery store and pharmacy, Attorney General Dan Rayfield filed a lawsuit, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and won. And now he's leading 23 other states in a new lawsuit against the next round of illegal tariffs. Last week, Governor Kotek signed 8 bills into law to protect immigrant communities by shielding access to schools and hospitals, limiting ICE's ability to operate unmasked and unidentified, and creating legal recourse for warrantless entry. And when Trump threatened mail-in voting, Secretary Reed didn't flinch. He sued. That is what Democratic leadership looks like. That is what fighting back looks like. And I know you guys already know your amazing all-female congressional delegation, but I still want to tell you about how awesome they are. When we pass real childcare that's going to make sure every family has what they need, it will be because of Suzanne Bonamici. Andrea Salinas has been one of the most powerful champions for reproductive rights and women's rights, and she's so strategic and thoughtful. Janelle Bynum has flipped one of the most competitive seats in the country, and she never stops fighting, as you all heard tonight. And guys, no pressure, but you better send her back to us. Maxine Dexter brings a doctor's instinct to everything she does. I'll actually never forget one of the first big things I did with Maxine. We were at a press conference, and she stepped away because one of the interns had fainted from heat. That's who she is. That's the same care she shows on everything that she does. And Val Hoyle has spent her entire career standing up for workers, fighting for the economic dignity that every person in Oregon deserves. She's a champion on privacy, knows how to get things done, and by the way, an excellent cook. And your senators, boy, are they a force. Senator Merkley is my partner on reforming the State Department, and none of the work we did on FISA would not have been possible without the years of relentless energy that Senator Wyden has put on protecting Americans' privacy. But look, I know everything isn't sunshine and rainbows right now, although it was sunny in Portland here today. But believe me, look, I work in Congress. I have to talk to people like Lauren Boebert and Randy Fine all the time. I know everything's hard. Everything feels heavy. Every news cycle feels like another gut punch. Every day is like chaos, and that chaos is exhausting. And I know there are days when it feels like we're going backward at warp speed and we will never find our footing again. But you shouldn't lose hope, and here's why. Like I said earlier, I spent years working in post-conflict resolution in countries that had been torn apart, coups, wars, breakdowns of institutions, and I watched them come back together. Not easily, not quickly, but they did. And I know that it can happen here too if we're able to build a broad-based pro-democratic movement, and we are. Millions of people have turned out at No Kings marches across the country, millions. And at the ballot box, Democrats have flipped 30 legislative seats in red, blue, and purple states since Trump took office. Want to know how many Republicans have flipped? 0. And we've outperformed our 2024 margins in 36 of those 42 special elections by an average of 15 points. 15 points! That's not a trend, that's a wave. Now, it isn't going to be easy, but for every expansion of opportunity in American history, every protection of rights, every investment in working families, from the civil rights movement to women's rights to LGBTQ+ rights, they have happened because people like you decided it was worth fighting for. Progress has never been automatic. It has always, always been earned. And right now, it's our time to earn it again. Our job is to keep showing up, to keep building trust, to keep making clear to every voter in every zip code, in every state, including here in Oregon, what we're fighting for, and more importantly, who we are fighting for. And I know, I really know, that together we can do it. Together we can build a country and a future that we all are proud of. So Oregon Democrats, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for having me here tonight. It is such an honor to be doing this work alongside all of you.
A true leader. Thank you again, Congresswoman Jacobs, for joining us this evening and bringing the beautiful San Diego weather with you. You all heard from our amazing speakers why we do this work and what's on the line. The DPO exists to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. So before I let you go this evening, I need to recognize some unsung heroes doing the hardest on-the-ground work. If you are a county, caucus, or congressional district chair or vice chair, could you please rise and be recognized for your work? These are the folks who are leading our party's bottom-up grassroots campaigns, making sure that when we're back here next year, we'll have broken Republican control in Congress, elected Democrats up and down the ballot, and taken back our country. Thank you all for joining us tonight to do that. Your pledges and contributions are so important to our party. Staff will be at the door to collect any last donation envelopes, and as you exit, please deposit your name tags in the boxes or hand them to a staff person. Thank you again, Democrats, for joining us. Thank you to our congressional delegation, our elected leaders, Congresswoman Jacobs, for joining us tonight. Thank you all. Thank you to the hotel staff for making this event possible. Please, everybody, drive safely and have a good night. We'll see you later.